Anybody that's listening to this, watching this, or is going to watch this in the future, please understand we are not trained medical technicians, nor do we give a fuck about health. Hence the name Two Drunks in a Bottle.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Two Drunks in a Bottle.
Two.
I'm BB.
Yeah, I'm Hunter.
And who are you?
I'm Jess.
Wait, the girl that's usually on the sidelines?
Yep, that's me.
Huh.
So, for those of you that don't know, this is my significant other. She actually requested to be on the podcast tonight.
Yeah.
So,
Good to have you here. About time you, I figured you'd be one of the first women and girls, to be on the podcast, but apparently you weren't, I guess.
Shit happens.
Hmm.
It's okay.
So, normally when we have a guest, they usually pick the bottle. Is this something you chose or something that we chose?
No, this is actually something that I chose.
Ah. So what are we looking at?
Tequila.
Yeah.
to be specific, Torada. Cheap tequila.
I heard
And-
tequila, yeah.
And that's actually perfect.
Oh man, I forgot to bring it in here. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab our. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
So- You have, I guess, experience with tequila?
Yes, I do, actually.
Okay. See-
And the reason is, we'll get into that later. Just know the story is why I don't drink tequila anymore.
No, we'll get
And
into
why I
the
don't
story.
drink, period. So,
So you don't really drink. It makes a lot of sense because me being around and stuff, I never really see you drink with us. It's
Yes.
usually just me and him, which I think you normally just put up with us after we get to drinking.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, this is, I don't normally drink. And tequila is the reason why.
See, this one's going to be rough from me because I'm not a tequila person. It just doesn't agree with me, but
I'm not anymore.
this is our podcast and I am going to push through.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Do it for the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
There's our clear infinity bottle.
So I noticed it looks a little different though.
That's our clear one. So we've got two. Can't remember if we ever brought that up. We've got one that's going to be for brown, and then we've got one that's going to be for clear.
Good call.
So if we can fill the clear one up by July, then we will be doing a 4th of July special.
Ooh.
Y'all heard it there.
And then the other one will be saved for New Year's.
Nice.
So we'll be doing whiskey on New Year's.
So she went ahead and she was telling us about tequila. She's had experience with it. To me, I'm not really a tequila person. How about you? Like, what's your experience with it?
I'm a different animal when it comes to tequila. I mean, I'm a happy drunk on tequila overall, but I do dumb shit
Yep.
like peeing in corners and shit.
Yeah.
Bean and shoes.
Yeah, pretty much the floodgates get open with tequila, and I'll just pee wherever's available.
Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
It's always fun.
Yeah.
Always.
So, I guess a shot, and then we'll get started with some drunken stories.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
I saw everybody's face on that one. It was just like, yeah,
It's a sigh.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Still beating around the bush though with us.
Oh, glug, glug, glug.
Yeah.
The smell.
Yep. can't say that I really don't do a whole lot of faces with the stuff that we've have done.
I
But
should have bought some limes.
Oh yeah,
Man.
we've got salt.
Yeah, but salt ain't gonna help it. Should have done some lime.
Yeah,
May have some lime juice in there somewhere.
I think we'll be all right.
Oh, I'm not ready for this.
Oh, you and me both. Like I said, I've never really made faces on my other stuff. I mean, y'all have seen our other stuff. I guess you can let us know if that's right. But this one definitely is I'm gonna make a face.
I need
You know what?
I need production to switch mine out with some water.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and just stop right here.
Yeah, Paul's Hunter.
We'll be right back.
Switch us to our brief intermission real quick while I switch this out with water. All right, guys. Bottoms up.
Not as bad as I thought it would be. Still bad, but I figured it'd be worse.
No, super smooth. This is a super easy tequila. Friday nights, getting drunk on Friday nights doesn't always work out for me the next day. Getting drunk for a second night in a row.
I mean, I really don't mess with tequila like just doing shots out of the bottle or just doing sips or whatnot, especially like over ice, because we've done over ice with a lot of stuff. But I mean, with tequila the most, I would say we did a lot of margaritas.
That's
what I
my
remember.
big tequila thing. Me and Hunter, that's if we're drinking something mixed, it's definitely going to be a margarita more than likely.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Or we'll let Jess start with her drunken story first.
Yeah.
Okay, so where I grew up, every weekend we had a party. There was a big party every weekend. I mean, all weekend long. Thursday night to Sunday night. Like, that was our weekends. And tequila was the drink. I mean, we would have gallons for the weekend. And I had a bottle about this size to myself. Yeah. And we were playing Waterfall. My first time ever playing Waterfall. I'm not going to tell you how old I was. And I got really, really, really drunk. And this was the day before my dad's birthday.
Shit.
and I had to make his cake.
Must have been some nice looking cake that day, huh?
The cake got left in the freezer. And I remember I had about maybe a quarter of the bottle left. And I remember waking up on the porch. And then I woke up in the barn. And then I woke up in the pasture. And apparently a friend of mine told me that I was trying to ride one of my horses while drunk.
Sounds like fun.
And tequila will make your clothes fall off.
Like the song.
Yes, 100%. And it did. And then I had the worst hangover the next day. I mean, I'm pretty sure I stayed drunk for about 4 days.
Yeah, I believe that.
Like, I don't remember the rest of that night, the next day, the following day, or the following day. Like, that was my first and only time I was blackout drunk.
Okay.
I don't remember anything in between. Like, those days are gone. Completely gone. And all I remember is tasting the tequila for like a week after that. I mean, a bottle like this to yourself, and I'm not a very big person. I'm really short. I'm 5 foot. At the time, I was 5 foot, maybe 115.
Yeah.
Like, I was tiny.
What's going on, Decoy NDA? Welcome to the live stream, buddy.
And I drank all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And had to go to my dad's birthday party the next day.
He said, so round 2.
Coming up, yeah. But yeah, I've had mine when I was my first blackout drunk was playing Waterfall. So it's funny that you mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
But mine, of course, was Moonshine, which I've told that story, so I'm not going to lead off into that one.
I've been drunk off moonshine before.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
It's a different experience. Very different.
Mm-hmm. Not fun.
But off of tequila, I do have one story. I remember going out to a restaurant. I believe it was like a work party. We all went out, and it was like a Mexican place that we went to, and they had, of course, margaritas and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm gonna get their margarita. Like they were telling us how good it was. I was like, yeah, I'll get it. And I always used to have problems, back in the day to where they would always come up to me and be like, you got your ID? They did not believe me. Now I can just kind of get by with it. Sometimes I'll get asked, but back then I've always gotten asked. So they come up to me and they're like, let me see that ID. I'm like, yeah. They're like, you want it strong or do you want it regular? I was like, I can do it strong. And I remember drinking all of that one. It didn't take me long, but the service was kind of busy. So like in between getting drinks and stuff, I wasn't able to get another one right then and there. They come out maybe like towards the end of that night when we were getting ready to leave. The lady finally asked me if I wanted another one. I was like, yeah. She's like, you want another strong or do you want it just regular? I was like, I can do another strong. It was good. By the time I finished that and walked out to the parking lot, that first one kicked in. And I just remember like just walking like, okay, I can feel it. It was strong. But yeah, the rest of that night was kind of like a spinning night, where you just feel that room going.
Yep, been there, done that. And that after that night, I told myself I would never get that drunk again. It was not fun. I did not have a pleasant experience with it. I didn't care about alcohol at that time. Still don't.
Yeah, I don't know if I can agree with that for me, but each their own.
I don't care for alcohol. I mean, it's not like we have a whole podcast that is based around it.
Right.
If I drink, then it's maybe once a year.
Wow.
And this is my once a year.
Yeah, I can contest that. I really don't see you drink too much.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we're not alcoholics, we're professional drinkers.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly, 100%.
We drink safely.
Yeah. So that was our stories with tequila. What was one of your moments that you remember?
Or vaguely remember.
Probably I'm trying to think of one specifically with tequila. Probably my most favorite story, and it's not even really a drunken story, but we got drunk as shit 100%, was me and Jess's mom were going shot for shot. She had bought a bottle of Hornitos Lime Shot.
Ugh.
And we were still doing lime and salt with it, but we were playing cards. And every time one of us would lose, you had to take a shot. So it ended up just continuous shot for shot for shot. And it got to we had went through one bottle. She had bought 2 bottles, and we had popped open the second bottle. And Jess, I think, was in bed.
I was.
But we got down to the last. Missy was like, "Oh, this is gonna be the last pour," and then she went to go take her shot, and she was like, "Never mind." She was like, "You could have it." I ended up drinking both of those shots. I think I got sick after that.
You did.
Pretty sure I got sick.
Well, this is a good time to say this, but we do have a comment, and it's kind of calling us out on this.
Call me out all you want to.
You all are lightweights compared to Battlefield Bill. Good song. Check it out. Neebs Gaming.
Yep.
I mean, used to in my prime, when I was drinking every weekend, stuff like that, I used to drink grown men under the table.
Yep.
Like, I would be the first one to pop one open, and I'd be the very last one to pop one open. I'd be up before, way past everyone. Like, when I met him, I was in my party stage. I got all my partying out by the time I was 18.
Yeah, I think I'm at that age where I'm finally getting up out of that to where I'm trying to drink somebody up under the table.
That was never my plan.
I mean, I was the same way.
But
like
that was just my tolerance.
I mean, because BB could tell you, we used to stay up late, just drinking on whatever, and that'd be perfectly fine. But I mean, now it gets that point to where it hits a certain time, and my body's like, "Hey, you're getting tired. You can go to sleep." So I mean, I do feel it with age. It's getting a little bit harder to do that. But I mean, at the same time, I do feel like I still can pose a challenge to some of them. I might be, get my ass kicked on that, but I mean, I'm gonna try.
See, I've always been a liquor guy, always, and I could hold my liquor better than normally my beer. Now beer's also heavy on your stomach though too, because of all the yeast and all that. So, but drinking liquor, I mean, that was a freaking pastime at one point to where it was, me being of a small stature, as well, and being able to outdrunk some of the biggest guys.
Yeah.
And drinking them literally making big guys fucking puke, and me still being okay.
Yeah, I remember people just walk up to you and be like, "There's no way you could do it." I'm like, "Fuck!" It's like
here we go again.
It's like I'm about to be carrying them. I already can see this coming.
See, y'all gotta realize I was there.
That's the part though, is that once the liquor starts flowing, it's hard to get me to stop.
Yeah,
it's hard to take a bottle out of my hand and say, "Okay, BB, you're cut off." There's not many people that have cut me off, or that can cut me off.
I mean, I'm the same way. Like, I'm not with that with liquor, but with beer, I am. Like, even for tonight, because tonight is a late, night podcast. Normally, we do it a little bit earlier.
Sorry, I had prior arrangements.
Nah, I mean, we're all good. We can do a late one every now and then. But, I mean, I'm that person where once I get started, I really don't want to stop until I go to sleep. Like, that's how I am. And I kept telling myself, I was like, I need a beer. I'm like, this is getting late. I need a beer. And I remember what we were drinking on. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to go messing with that too early. Like, I've seen it happen with our other guests.
So
it's tough.
I'm glad you bring that up. If you come on Two Drunks in a Bottle, know that, yes, the podcast is called Two Drunks in a Bottle. Do not pregame before you come and drink with us.
It'll mess you up.
It's not a good idea.
No.
Because what the goal of our format and everything is to get drunk together.
Yeah. Try different shit.
Because you're gonna have a shot, you're gonna have a mixed drink, and you're gonna have it over ice.
Mm-hmm.
And once we go through all three, you could do whatever you want. Like, I'll probably make another one of these.
Yeah, it's like combos, whatever.
Right after I'm done. But yeah, just future advice. If you come on Two Drunks in a Bottle, don't pregame. Like, we literally have not drank all day.
Yeah, trust us, we'll get you there.
And normally Saturdays are our drink all day days. Like, we drink from the time we get up until the time we go to bed on Saturdays.
Quite literally. Normally, I have a strict bedtime. Normally 10 o'clock, I'm in bed.
I mean, normally you're there waking us up like, hey, you fell asleep here, go to bed.
Yeah, I'm the mom of the group.
Yeah, I do normally fall asleep wherever the hell I'm sitting.
I've done that too.
Or laying.
And I'll make sure they get to bed, their shoes are off, and they're covered up.
Good thing about having that gaming chair that turns into a recliner, huh?
Yeah, it helps.
I'll flat out on that damn thing.
Yeah.
Hey, I spent a lot of time picking that out.
So let's move over to some general conversation. Jess, you were a 90s kid.
Yep.
So this is actually something that me and Hunter were wanting to talk about. Ooh. And you actually watched it with me. Let's talk about Quiet on Set.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Let's have a conversation about Quiet on Set.
Oh, man.
So, for those of you watching, if you haven't watched Quiet on Set or whatever, it's about child Nickelodeon stars that worked under Dan Schneider. And a lot of allegations and stuff came to the light. And even a couple of people were sexually assaulted because of it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dig into it.
Yeah.
And kind of talk about it.
Before we get started, I just want to say, if you haven't watched it, go watch it right now before listening to the rest of this.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, big spoiler alert.
So, I remember reading up on this, like, videos and stuff in the past, before Quiet on Set was a thing, before they even had certain people. And I remember them having, like, some of the people that were caught, as child predators and stuff like that, and getting arrested for it. And it was weird to me how I want to say at the time they released maybe that 2 people came out. And that was kind of weird to me. It was like, how can you let not 1 but 2 people in? And then when Quiet on Set come out, they even said that they had 3 people. And I don't think that was released. I do remember there being at least 2. But yeah, Quiet on Set, I know that they did say 3. But I mean, for the longest, people were talking about that there was a kid and that, he was a victim of it. And everyone was trying to question it. I do remember going like down a little bit of a rabbit hole, reading like different Reddits and stuff, people having their idea who it was and this and that. But I mean, after all these years, Quiet on Set comes out and they actually release who that person was. I mean, I know BB, I know you, I know that y'all love the show Drake and Josh. Like that was probably a show that you watched.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've seen every episode.
What was y'all's reaction when y'all heard that it was Drake Bell? That
I was blown away.
Yeah.
I was completely in awe, blown away.
same.
Probably what got me the most is that literally when they showed the picture of like the group all together, is the guy that did it to him was literally in front of him in the picture.
Yeah.
I mean, and he was easily access. I mean, all of them are right there at the kids. I mean, there was no.
So like with the Drake thing, kudos to his dad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like his dad 100% was like, something's wrong. There's something wrong with this guy. And the guy groomed him.
Oh, yeah.
100% groomed him, put some really bad stuff into his head.
Not even his head, like other people around him.
Well, yeah, but in Drake's head, he pretty much made Drake's dad out like a bad guy.
Yeah, and he got to everybody telling them all this stuff, and everyone fell for it.
And Drake ended up firing his dad from being his manager.
Yeah.
And his dad, out of respect, transferred everything over to his mom, and that was the one stipulation that he had made when he had signed all that stuff over was, do not let Drake be alone with this guy.
And that's one thing, too, that no one's really talked about was, like, you got to give the man respect that he knew Drake didn't want him as a manager. And instead of fighting him and saying, oh, I'm going to be your manager, he backed off 100%. Was like, I want him to do his thing. I want him to be happy.
I mean, he got upset. He was genuinely upset and was like, I want to do what makes my son happy.
And not a lot of people can do that, though.
So
That's
something
hard.
that bothered me was the mom doesn't speak out.
Yeah.
Like, at all. The mom doesn't speak out at all. And I feel like that's guilt. There's some guilt there. And so you lived near LA in California. And her excuse was she didn't like to drive. So she didn't want to drive him an hour away.
Was that the distance from it?
It was like an hour away.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't want to make that commute. So she trusted the guy to give him rides. And then it turned into the guy wanting him to stay at his house because he didn't want to make the commute. And he's like, well, we got to get up early tomorrow and all of this. And just basic grooming tactics.
Hey, he definitely sent his teeth.
Completely played the mom altogether.
Yeah.
But what blows me away is the mom never caught any of this. Like, never caught on to any of it.
Yeah.
It literally took Drake's girlfriend's mom at the time
To say something.
Drake, something's wrong. Why is this guy blowing your phone up?
This is not okay.
And then
Right.
it was almost, in my opinion, like a Michael Jackson instance.
I can see that.
It was almost like a Michael Jackson's instance. Instead of Funland or whatever the hell it was called, he would take him to Disney.
I mean, that's how most of them did. It's whatever amusement park that was around, something that they knew that kids would want to go to. That was the place that they were going to go.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was just some mainstream place, as long as it was a kid-friendly place, that's where they were going to take them.
It completely jacked up.
Yeah, 100%.
And then it was multiple of the guy's friends that would tag along. So analyze that a little bit.
I mean, you gotta think of it.
Analyze that a little bit. All of that guy's friends that were tagging along, have they been looked into?
Right. I mean, this was something that
Was he exchanging pornographic images
I mean,
of Drake potentially? Like, we don't know how far in depth it actually goes. If there were like videos of Drake and him, if there were pictures,
yeah.
like, why would grown men take one child? And he wasn't a child. He was a teenager, but he was still a child to an amusement park. What in the mom's head says this is okay too? Like that I just couldn't imagine.
Right. Coming from a parent's aspect about it, I mean watching that made me want to never let my child out into the world, period.
I mean, 100%. I mean, I don't understand how someone's able to let them go without their supervision.
Like, that will never happen.
Yeah, it would be all right in my eyes to say, okay, well, we're gonna go with him to go here,
Yeah,
because the parents there.
Yeah, like I recently took my son out of state, like to a family event. But I can tell you right now, my eyes were never off my child.
Right.
I will never let him go out of state without me or his father present. Period. It's not gonna happen. I don't care how old he is.
No.
I mean, if he's got a family of his own, that's different. But as long as he is my child and in my custody, my eyes are never off of him.
Right.
Like we go out in public, and my hand is always on him.
So I don't want to make this all just about Drake, is because he was widely known, as a lot of people would know. But I mean, there was also like other kids that were involved that you wouldn't even have known about unless they were brought up. So like the girl,
something that wasn't brought up, like she was talked about, but years ago, Amanda Bynes tried to reach out and say like something's wrong.
She got pretty much shunned for it,
and everyone, they thought she was crazy because she had her and Britney Spears around the same time had their mental breakdowns.
Yeah.
So it was something similar to that, to where they just thought she was crazy and was just making shit up. It was like Boy That Cried Wolf almost.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of those that are coming out right about now. I mean, not even right now. They've been coming out.
So I don't think that, like, I think that's probably why she wasn't on Quiet on Set, is because she was like, I tried to tell you guys, because Dan kept her away. That was his gym.
Mm-hmm.
And they even showed it in Quiet on Set that he wanted to get out of child acting, and that was she was his meal ticket. And she had went on that other show, what All a Girl Wants.
Something like that. It was a drama show, but yeah. It was first teenage years almost.
Yeah. And that was going to be like into his teenage market, teenage young adult market.
It's like you said, it was his ticket out of little kid shows.
And she ended up, like, pretty much, he got into it with one of the producers.
Yeah, he was a co-producer, I guess is what you might want to call it. I don't know if I would say producer. I don't know if that's right. But, I mean, it was him and another person working together to do this.
And then once he got called out for it, all that he asked for was his namesake. That's all he wanted. Like, he didn't do anything that was productive to the show except keep his name in the title.
Right.
So, just so that people know, he did iCarly. He did Zoe 101, Drake and Josh, Sam and Cat, which I never watched Sam and Cat.
I didn't either.
That was
after my
2013 to 2014. By then, like,
I kind of fell out of shows like that.
I was kind of done with Nick at that point.
Oh, yeah.
The Amanda Show, Victorious, that was another one I never watched.
See,
was
me and
Victorious.
my sister, we loved the Amanda Show and Drake and Josh.
All that.
I remember that.
All that. Henry Dagger, another one I never watched. That one went all the way up till 2020.
You mean Henry Danger?
Henry Danger, sorry. Game Shakers, What I Like About You.
Yeah,
that was the Amanda
show.
Keenan and Kel, one of my all-time favorites.
Same.
Danger Force, the The Adventures of Kid Danger. So he did quite a bit of shows.
Yeah.
In my thought, they need to do a better background check of these people.
Absolutely, yeah. 100%.
Like, now they're just going to hire anyone to be with these kids. And, I mean, you don't know. Like, do better.
Right. I mean, as a parent, letting their kid go in, like, your expectations are this is what they're going to do is just be on TV. You're not looking for, pedophiles and all this other to be on set with them.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, that's...
I mean,
we're
we're entrusting you to take care of our children, and this happens.
Because
like, that is not okay.
You got to think, not only are they just letting their kids be up here at this place, they're also being told that they can't be around them, that they have to be in their own little mindset.
Which was against the law.
Yeah.
I mean,
I never understood that. Like, how can they be like, hey, parents, y'all are going to go to this room. We're going to take care of the kids. Don't worry, this person is going to watch over them for you.
Yeah, I can tell you that
came out about the one guy that you were talking about with that one girl. I can't remember her name. Was it Emily?
I'd have to look it up.
Emily Osment?
No, it was no.
You're thinking Disney.
I think her name was Emily.
I'll look it up just so we get the name right. 'Cause I do want to make sure we get the names right.
But no, like, I'm not entrusting anyone other than, myself and, my husband with my child, out in situations like that. Like, it's different him going and spending the night with his grandparents and stuff like that and family watching him, but going to stuff like that, like, the only people that I would trust with my child is his parents.
Yeah.
And if someone tells me, oh, you go over here, this person's going to watch you, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean...
Either I'm going to be right there or he's not doing it.
I mean, I was young, back then, being, say, a 90s kid, being in that era and stuff, it was always, if I was going to go over somebody's house, my parents and their parents met. It was always... it was always that little connection first before I just went over. Like, there was no, hey, I'm going over here. They'd be like, no, you're not,
Yeah, that's like me saying, when Remy gets older, oh yeah, your kid can come spend the night. He's perfectly safe over here. If I've never met the parents, they have every right to question me.
Yeah.
And everything. They have every right, that they're protecting their child. And if they don't do that, red flag. Something's wrong.
So going back to the name of the girl, though, her name was Brandy.
Brandy,
yeah. You were on a roll. I didn't want to stop you. You're at a good point.
But with Brandy, it was literally one of those people that were to guide the kids.
And you feel bad about that because she saw the show and was like, I want to do that. I want to be there. I mean, all of us, whether it was the Amanda show or Drake and Josh, you thought, I wish I could be that person. I wish I could do that. I did. I'm not gonna lie.
Or even back when the game shows were on.
Oh yeah.
Like temple. Slime and
I forget what the name of it. It was something to do with the temple though.
Yeah.
But yeah, like stuff like that. Like I wish I would have been a part of that. That was cool.
Yeah.
But to entrust that that your child's gonna be okay, and then someone. Like, that guy groomed that girl, too.
Yeah. I mean, they all do. That's how they get them.
He had sent her an email, and the mom was like, it was a harmless email. And then it turned into, he sent a genital picture.
How does that happen? Like, how do you let somebody email your kid? Like, you would have a jointed email, like between your parent and a kid. Like, this is our email.
That was when Instant Messenger was like big.
I mean, yeah, it was. But I never had my own email for a while. Like, I remember when MySpace, that stuff come around. That was barely around that time to where I was finally be able to create my own account, my own email. But a lot of that stuff, it was, you can't have this. You're too young. You're not going to be able to do all this,
I mean, Remy now, he's 2. He has an email. But that's for his medical bills and stuff.
Right.
So I can keep track of that. But his stuff is on my phone. I monitor his email. He's 2.
Yeah, I was going to say that's different.
But as he grows, he's going to use that email for school and other things, when he gets a tablet.
Yeah, that's like your jointed email between you and your son.
Yeah, and he's not going to have full access to that until he's in his teens.
Yeah, I get that.
But me and his dad will always have access to it.
Yeah, that's what it was like.
I'm not saying we're gonna shelter him and be into everything. We're gonna trust him until he gives us a reason not to.
Kids are gonna be kids. We've all been there.
But that guy was probably one of the worst. Like, out of all of them, he was probably one of the worst. He literally had a diary that said, "I go to work every day, and I try to choose which kid I'm going to sexually assault today."
That's not what got me.
That's not okay.
What got me was I literally worked for free because of y'all. That what got me.
Like, and then the guy that sexually assaulted Drake literally had Letters was a pen pal with freaking
the clown.
Gacy.
Yeah.
John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah,
John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
And had a signed picture, a self-portrait
Oh yeah, because
of John Wayne Gacy as a clown, one of the most notorious serial killers in the world. And you're fucking pen pals with him.
Yeah, and then at one of his parties, he brought everyone into this room and was showing it off. He was proud of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what got me was like the kid looked at it and was like, you have this, and he turned it around to show him like, hey, this was signed to me. Like,
well, you have psychos that are fucking like that.
Yeah.
Because it was the same way with Ted Bundy. When Ted Bundy was in prison, he had a fan following. People that just thought that he was the world's greatest. Literally, women like just wanted to be with him. And then there was there was John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy.
there was a couple of them.
I'm trying to think of another like major one. Similar to Ted Bundy.
You would be more on that one. That
like
level,
I'm a crime buff.
Yeah,
and
you
right
watch
now
a lot of that stuff.
Right now I can't think about. My mind is just kind of in a haze.
But like, and on top of that though, like with going back with the first guy, like not only did he do all that stuff as well, he collected trophies like in a bag with the name of that kid. I mean that.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the trophies was a
the
pair
guy,
of panties
this
from
was
a
the
little
guy,
kid.
This was the
little
guy
girl.
that had admitted in his diary.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to name.
Manson.
I don't want to give him credit.
TK.
I don't want to give them credit.
Or Ted
No.
Like name creds and give their names. They're just gonna be those guys.
Yeah.
That's like
Marilyn Manson.
Oh,
Ted
she's reading
K.
comments of what this is coming from.
Yeah. Decoy and DA.
I mean,
appreciate it, decoy.
yeah. But I mean, I do get, BB's, perspective on that is like, if you were a victim, of course, we're going to make sure we get your name right, but with them, we really don't care. Like, we're not going to say we don't want it out there. That's not going to be us.
And then, who was it? Was it Alexa Nicholas?
Oh, the girl from Zoe 101, right?
No. Which one was it?
Oh, what was her name?
Which one was it that he called? Pretty much, she was Dan's girl, and then she introduced Dan to Amanda.
Oh, the girl from all that.
Oh, she was the
little small girl, yeah.
Yeah. Oh shit, what was her name?
I'll let Hunter figure that out real quick.
Normally, it's me figuring it out on the side.
I think that might be right. I think it was Alexa Nicholas.
Let's see.
Type in all that cast.
As I searched for it, yeah. 90s all that cast, yep.
But literally, she got fat shamed.
Mm-hmm.
Katrina Johnson.
It was Katrina? Yes, yeah, it was. Okay.
Yeah.
She got fat shamed. And then she grew up. And then she got shamed for growing into her body. So she lost the weight. They literally fired her for gaining weight.
I wouldn't even say fired. They replaced her. Like, they made sure, like, hey, we have somebody now. We can let you go. That's pretty much how they did it. And it was, like you said, she was the one that introduced them to Amanda Bonds, and that was her replacement, was Amanda Bonds. That's tough. I mean...
It was bad. And then you get into pretty much... Everyone said the same story, that if you weren't on Dan's good side, then you weren't going to make it in Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And he flat out made it like that. Whether it was his actors or actresses, or it went so far as his TV writers.
Yeah.
Literally making them two women split a salary. And then the one woman reported it to the guild and
That phone call
to the Writers Guild, and he called her and said, if you did this and I find out you did this, you'll never work in the movie industry ever again.
And that's what got me was that he tried to do his rebuttal. You know, he come out with a video which I will say was interviewed by a person who worked for him. To me, that's a little sus, but I mean, whatever. But coming off from what he had said in the video was, this was more like a test. It's your first big job. We're not going to really trust two people and just give one of them a full salary. We're going to split this two to see what they can do and then maybe go from there. But like you just said was, like him calling and making that statement, that threw me off. I was like, well, you said this in that phone call. That kind of argues with what you're trying to go with. Like, if you're really like that concerned and saying like, hey, this is just how it works, you're not going to make that phone call and threaten somebody. That, to me, that turned around that whole statement of his.
Nick was so... I feel like Nickelodeon had the blinders on.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that without him, they felt like they wouldn't have been where they went. Now, you know, you listen to the Ned's podcast, the Ned's Declassified podcast. Jess, you probably don't.
No, I don't listen to podcasts.
You weren't a real big Ned's Declassified fan either.
I mean, I was in the beginning when it first came out, and then I just watched it so much that it just kind of got old.
But you get into like Scott Fellows, and that was a whole different cast. They weren't on Nickelodeon on Sunset. Right. I think that they said they mainly shot at what, Paramount is normally where they shot?
Maybe. I think someone said that. I'm not sure if it was them.
But they weren't on Nick on Sunset. Mm-mm. They didn't really, they never worked with Dan.
They were not that close with him as far as like being produced by Dan, yeah.
But pretty much Scott and them did put people through the ringer. So like they did things right. They made sure that they had people that were around the kids that made them kids feel safe.
Right.
Now, to go back to the TV writers and like the splitting salaries and stuff, is over the years watching those shows, as a kid, you're never going to catch the sexual endos.
No, I never did.
Like, you're never going to.
I mean, look at Disney. Disney had tons of them, and you would have never known. But going back and watching, wow. It. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like wow.
It's almost like that is not a kid's show.
Right. You just think, oh, that was goofy. That was funny. You know?
And it goes into multiple TV shows, like even outside of Dan Snyder.
Yeah.
You know, you get into SpongeBob. Now, a lot of people don't realize with like SpongeBob wasn't originally created for Nickelodeon. It was originally pitched to Adult Swim.
That's right, yeah.
And it was going to be an Adult Swim cartoon. And I don't know where in the mixture that they were like, hey, it's not going to work out. It's not really that great of a adult cartoon.
Right.
And then they transitioned over to Nick. But there were so many sexual innuendos inside of just SpongeBob alone. Patrick and SpongeBob, they were absolutely gay.
100%.
My favorite one was when SpongeBob is going through the TV and he gets to that one channel and is just watching it. And then the snail comes up, Gary, and he comes up and SpongeBob changes the channel. Oh, I was just watching this. And it's like, you know. But as a kid, you didn't know that. You just thought, oh, what was that? You know, you didn't pay much attention.
Wild Thornberries was another one. The dad was always horny.
Yeah.
Like, him and the mom were always together. Fairly Odd Parents, there were some in it. There were a bunch, and the one that had the most, there's two that I can name that had the most, and one's going to be named off from Cartoon Network, and the other one's going to be named off from Nick. But they probably were equal on the sexual endos. Was Cartoon Network side, Cow and Chicken.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon side, Rocko's Modern Life.
Yep, I was sure about to say it.
See, those are two that I never really watched as a kid, but my sister did.
Cow and Chicken was one of my favorite shows. I remember like watching it all the time.
Cow and Chicken almost borderline should have been on Adult Swim.
I forget his name, but of course the big red guy. You know, just him alone. Like anytime he was on the screen, that was like wow. Like they're going back and watching it. You're like wow.
See, like Cat Dog really didn't have any that I can really remember.
No, maybe
Angry Beavers. I don't really remember having any. Rugrats, of course. There might have been a couple. Now that's a different episode that we've actually talked about having at some point.
Yeah.
Is like what the stories are behind the shows.
Oh, like the Dark Theories.
The Dark Theories.
Yeah.
Talking about the Dark Theories. Ed, and Eddie had in the window some.
But it wasn't bad.
Johnny Bravo.
Oh.
Absolutely sexualized.
Yeah.
100%.
Hilarious, though.
Yeah.
To each their own, though. I will say that because a lot of it could be,
so
I guess, perspective on it.
What leads me up to like all of this was, do you guys remember what the logo was for Nick throughout the 90s and 2000s, early 2000s?
I'm not sure about the year stamp, but I do remember what it was at one point.
It was what?
The foot. With like an orange foot splat, and it said Nickelodeon. Then they changed it to just a splat at one point. But I'm not sure about the year.
It wasn't until like the mid 2000s, and you can look it up if you want. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't until the mid 2000s that they changed away from the foot.
Yeah. Because they try to hide that now. But
lot of people
don't know that.
Dan had some type of obsession with feet.
Yeah, it was across all of his shows.
Every show had it.
Drake and Josh, iCarly, Zoe 101, Victorious. Even though I didn't watch it, I do remember watching the clips from the Quad on Set scenes.
And that was another bad one. The one with Ariana Grande, whatever her show was. So, like, she was moaning. She was spilling water on herself, and like
upside down.
It was almost like a cum shot.
Pickle Boy.
What?
Too. That's when they introduced the Pickle Boy. Was when
which is the guy that got arrested.
Yeah.
But I mean, even like going back with her though, like it was the what was it? It was a potato, and she's sitting there squeezing the potato, saying, "Give me the juice."
Yeah.
Like, you know what that is.
Why?
And his only argument, Dan Snyder, was, well, I got levels above me. Why did anyone else stop me? And it's like, why would you do it in the first place?
I feel like Nick was in it for the money.
I mean, absolutely. I mean,
they weren't like he was their top producer. Literally, you go and look at the ranks, and all of his shows sat in the top 5.
Yeah,
and then you had like Ned's in between. Like, if you go back and look at the ratings for a certain time frame, you can see that most of Dan's shows, one of them was sitting in the number 1 spot.
Yeah, they did graphs on that.
All that was the kid version of Saturday Night Live.
Definitely. I mean, look at Keenan. Keenan went on Saturday Night Live after. It was like a pregame on it. It was like, hey, come out as a kid. You're probably going to go to Saturday Night Live afterwards. I mean, he started. I mean, look at Kenan and Kel. I mean, Kenan and Kel has a show, and then from all that too, like they had like the perfect little group of shows right there. And then look at both of them, Kenan and Kel. Now as adults, they're like big on working with shows.
Now I still have a theory that, and me and you talked about it, I think you even agreed, is that some people aren't going to speak out on some of the things. Because they still have current contracts with Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
I think that it goes bigger than Nickelodeon at this point because Paramount owns the rights to all Nickelodeon shows. So if they're in any type of contract with Paramount or Nickelodeon, then they can't talk. They have a non-disclosure agreement. They can't talk.
So there's only been a handful that haven't been on the show that. So when I say that, I mean like those that have came out and said something on the regard of it that weren't on the show. Was like Gibby from iCarly. He made a statement on it saying, well, when I was there, I didn't notice all this, but I'm not going to say that didn't happen because I don't know. He goes, if it did, that's fucked up, but I didn't see it.
That was one of those that, like, if you weren't in the loop and you weren't one of Dan's minions. And the bad part is Jeanette McCurdy.
I feel bad for her.
Yeah, I do too.
She was up there with Drake, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. She made iCarly.
Like she was up there with Drake. Like his situation and what he went through, she went through some serious fucking trauma.
Yeah.
And it was based off of Dan.
I mean, look at the title of her book as well. I mean,
I'm glad my mom died,
I mean, she had a right on that. I mean, I love my mom to death. Yeah, I'm never going to disrespect her because to me and my mom, we have a good relationship on that. But I understand that to a point to where when I got to reading up on what all was done with her and stuff, like her mom was crazy about her weight and stuff. Like she looked like a normal kid. Like with iCarly and stuff, you would have never said she's overweight, but her mom stayed on top of her. And I can get why she hated her mom or resented her mom for that, you know.
Or I'm glad my mom died. I think that's what the name of the book was.
But I mean, you got to think that she went through all of that just with her mom. And then you turn around and you say Dan Snyder come around and, you know, did that on top. Like, I ain't going to say, you know, that she did anything with her. But I mean, you saw, like, if you watched the video quad on set, like, you saw, like, he stayed on top of them, like, pranking them or, like, just right there up on them. Like,
yeah, getting a little too close for them.
Yeah.
And you had to be on board with it. Like, you couldn't speak out and, like, man, hey, you made me feel uncomfortable.
Or, hey, you're standing too close, back up.
Now, looking at, I'll have to look up his names, like, say it, but, like, Spencer from iCarly or Drake and Joshua as the person that worked at the movie theaters, you know, they even said that he came between, you know, his actors, co-stars, and Dan Snyder a couple of times. Like, he even jumped in his arms to say, hey, like, fuck with me. Well, don't fuck with them, you know.
Yeah.
He was, his name is Spencer. He definitely probably was one of them saving grace kind of people.
Yeah, 100%.
Like 100%. Like he 100% wanted the best for them children and was pretty much their saving grace.
Yeah.
Honestly, he may have been the reason why things didn't happen to like Miranda Cosgrove. Because
Jerry Trainer. That was
Jerry Trainer. Things didn't happen to Miranda Cosgrove because of him, Jerry Trainer, potentially. Because she literally was a little child.
Yeah.
Maybe 7, 8 years old when she started on Drake and Josh.
Yeah, Drake and Josh. Yeah.
And that could have been Dan Snyder's absolute Amanda replacement.
And I think with that, I think Drake played a good part with that because Drake, when all this shit came out with him, this happened before Drake and Josh. So a lot of the episodes that we've watched, you never would have thought about it.
A year before Drake and Josh.
Yeah, so watching it as a kid, you didn't know that. You wouldn't have ever known that, because they played it off so well. But if you think about him being on the show and this happened to him, what about his little sister? Is
DeQuandier says sounds like Gene Crawford from in Mommy Dearest. So, talking about the Jeanette McCurdy and her mom's situation. It pretty much was that, from my understanding. It pretty much was like Mother Dearest.
But I mean, you got to think about it. I'm pretty sure he protected Miranda Cosgrove because he went through that. And she probably never really noticed it through Drake and Josh that ever having somebody on her back a lot because Drake was probably there and he probably stayed away. But I mean, iCarly would have been different because she's by herself. She worked with, Jerry Trainer and stuff, but he wasn't that like a brother figure to her.
Sorry, Jez. I feel like we're kind of leaving you out of the conversation a little bit here.
I'm commenting here and there.
Yeah.
This is your podcast episode.
I know what I was getting myself into.
I'm looking at some empty glasses. I guess we kind of overtalked a little bit.
No, I just finished.
Well,
I did see BB fill up another glass on
over ice is the last drink. We're not to the last drink point yet. We haven't finished covering.
Well, no, I mean I'm not trying to rush anybody, but as far as drinking wise go, we're empty. That we can't be empty.
Oh man,
we're gonna need some more ice. Make us another orange juice.
Oh, I'm down.
Don't do a lot in mine. Or go ahead.
That's not a lot.
Look, it is for someone who doesn't drink.
Your glass is bigger than all of ours, and I poured.
Look, I'm not a drinker. I've told y'all this.
You
I'm
came on
not
Two Drunks in a
drinker.
Bottle. You're going to be a part of Two Drunks in a Bottle.
I mean, I'm being a part of it. I'm being a good sport.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Jess on this. I mean,
I drank my first glass.
she's still here. I gotta give her that.
Exactly. I'm still here. I ain't going nowhere.
And we're having a good conversation.
Yeah.
Decoy NDA, guzzle, guzzle, guzzle.
Right?
You know, I'm kind of.
We're getting there.
In my own little head here.
So, another one was the guy that played Captain Big Nose, or
Oh, yeah, the little kid. I do remember watching that about him.
I don't remember
I
that.
think you're right. If it was, I know it was something to do with the
something Big Nose.
Yeah.
And they made it out to look like two balls and a penis.
So if you watched all that, there was a short little black kid, and he was famous on all that. Like, he was always there. They had him pretty much be a superhero. Had a long nose. Like, if you watch Wild on Set, you wouldn't know because they showed that scene. But he had a big nose, and then he had like the nostrils. I guess if you were to look up underneath,
On the sides of his shirt.
and on his
And
chest.
on his chest. But the ones that stood out the most were on his shoulders.
I think I
must have
noticed most of
been-
the chest.
I must have been putting the baby down.
So think about it like this: he's got a long nose, and he's got the nostril look, which is like the big M on his chest, like dick and balls.
Aw.
I mean, it would be hard to
Why?
miss. I mean, as a kid, you're not going to think about that because you're not really pay attention to that stuff. But I mean, as an adult, you're looking at like,
I
look at
never.
He resented his mom.
yeah, and that, a lot of the kids did,
And
I hate
that was bad.
Oh, was that one of the first episodes?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He had resented his mom.
He was from all that.
And he had literally said, I think my mom was too strict. She was always like, why is my kid doing this?
And you got to
I
feel for those
remember now.
parents. Like,
And now he regrets.
And
yeah,
he regrets everything now.
a lot of them do.
it was bad because like he doesn't have a relationship with his mom because of it.
Or he didn't.
No, he doesn't.
Oh,
Still,
he doesn't?
like he's going through therapy and all of
He's
that.
working it out though. He realized what had happened.
Yeah.
The only thing that bothered me with him, and I even told you watching it, that bothered me with him was race always has to be brought up.
Always.
In everything that happens, race has to be brought up.
Race and sexuality.
Don't know why it has to happen. Like, we're in fucking 2024 now. And this is where I get into my format of what, like, the brand that me and you are building is, our goal is to cancel culture. Like, that's a thing. Is cancel culture was probably the most stupidest thing that was ever invented. Some good actors have been canceled and never should have been, kind of thing.
And not even that, like they stubbed on everybody's toes where they made them feel like they couldn't say anything too funny.
But he literally made a comment that bothered the hell out of me in there. He was like, what's it look like? A black man being in therapy.
I mean, it is what it is. Everyone has to go
Everyone
through
can
it
go.
eventually.
Anyone can go through therapy. Why does it matter that you're a black man going through therapy?
I mean, that one didn't really bug me too much. Like, I mean, nowadays, like you hear
Yeah,
from both sides.
What was
The
the point in it? In making the comment and even saying it? His mom, hats off to her.
Oh yeah,
100%.
All the
You know that my mom and your mom would have been that same. Even her mom would have been that same exact way. That if we were put into a position and we were doing something that they didn't agree with,
I'm pulling you out of it.
yeah, they would have literally been grabbing us by the neck, like, hey, it's not working
I'm
out.
gonna say something.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel that because I'm that way.
Another situation inside of there that kind of got to me a little bit. Those kids only had to go to school for 3 hours a day.
and they were there doing it. Like
Yeah,
they were
they
actually
were on
going to
set
school.
doing it.
Yeah, that was at set or on set. But yeah,
See, my personal opinion is
But go ahead.
if I get my child into acting, which at this point will never happen,
I mean, I can't blame you after that.
school comes first. Education is very important. I don't care if the acting will take you to bigger, brighter things. Your education comes first. 100%.
Yeah, I was
you're
about
gonna
to
go
say
to
100%.
school, and then after school hours are done, if you want to do acting, fine.
Right.
But school comes first. 8 hours a day in a classroom with a teacher. You're not doing it on set. Like, school comes first. This is second.
If I was a parent, if anything, if they're going to take my kid out of school, I would say, okay, well, they're going to be homeschooled with me. You know,
Exactly.
they're not going to be going to set with you. You know, that's a perspective thing. But I mean,
yeah, and who says that they're not hiring people to do these kids' schoolwork for them?
yeah, that's
And
the
then
thing
not
too.
learning anything.
I'm glad you brought up that topic of the kid thing. Let me backtrack just a sec to where I was getting into pretty much these kids, in my opinion, were hired for a job.
Yeah.
I understand child labor laws and all that. I understand showbiz, like, you gotta work long hours. Because you have a deadline with the network and you have to make sure that you get there and
Well,
all
that's
that
their
good,
problem.
all that
not
good
mine.
stuff. Those kids knew to be child actors from the get-go, like, you're gonna have to work, and you gotta do so in a certain time frame.
Right.
Now I'm gonna digress off of that because I don't want to go too far into it, but Daniel Curtis Lee said it best in the most recent Ned's podcast,
AKA Cookie, right?
aka Cookie.
Yep.
He said it best is that at this point in the world in 2024, with all the technology, all the bad shit that happens, we need to take kids out of TV.
I agree.
100% kids need to be taken out of TV.
Unless they have a very short role.
I mean, if parents are involved in it, I would say that, like, strictly involved with them, like, being right there at
Yeah,
it.
you hire my kid, you're hiring me.
Yeah, I get that.
Until they stricken up on the laws and do better background checks in Hollywood. Now, you know how I feel about California. Like, literally, we're just waiting for that San Andreas fault line to just go
Come
off
on.
and sink it off into the ocean.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Uh,
California.
California is its own monster and should probably go ahead and just split port ways with the U.S. and just become your own country. Hate that we're gonna lose some beautiful scenery, but it is what it is.
Yeah, we got beautiful scenery
But-
down here if you go further south.
Why is it
Northern North.
most states have laws that protect people and you're doing these background checks and stuff? Why is California behind? Of all states,
They're hiding something.
it's because of big money.
It's like we're the only living creature on this earth that pays to be here.
But
Yeah.
children need to be taken out of TV.
100%.
Everything's so sexualized and stuff now.
Yeah.
Take children out of TV.
Yeah. Teenagers, you know, I say
You've
17,
got,
18 up.
You've
Yeah,
got
go for it.
you got voiceover actors and stuff that can still contribute to the child demographic and can still create shows for children.
So I'm gonna comment on that. So they can take children out. So I'm gonna refer to a movie, the Twilight movie, the very last one. They animated that child in that movie. No child played that part. It was completely animated. That child was completely animated in there. There was no child put in that movie.
Probably need to look that up and make sure that's 100%.
It is.
I mean, it might be. The only thing I
Up
would
to a
say.
certain point.
Oh, yeah. The only thing I would say to go back with, like, BB's statement is that when I would say this, I'm saying that I kind of agree with him, but you have all these cartoons, you have all these animators and stuff that are able to create, you know, whether it be old school and going back to the books where they're just drawing it out on a piece of paper and it being there.
How many voices did that lady that did Rugrats do? She did like 90% of the voices.
Is it,
You know,
Tara Strong.
She did Tommy. She did
Yeah.
Angelica. She did
The one who did Fairly Odd Parents. adults.
Yeah.
That was an adult.
She did Raven from Teen Titans. Tara Strong is someone I would want to meet because she has tons of voices in her head, like tons. And it's like she created, or she helped, create our childhood because she was in all of these shows and you would have never known it. That's like the lady that did Bart Simpson from The Simpsons. Like, looking at her, if she were to walk up on you and she'd said something, like, you would have never said, oh, you're Bart. It took me a while to figure out it was a lady that did Bart Simpson.
So, even in the Today shows, the Today Kids shows, Bluey, those are adults.
There were certain parts I do have come across, like, scenes and stuff of that. But, I mean, I don't just sit down and watch Bluey, so as a perspective, I guess.
There's one child that plays Bingo, but an adult plays Bluey, an adult plays Bandit, and an adult plays Chili. And they're on separate sides of Australia.
I've seen scenes to where it was like that.
Remy likes Bluey.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, there are adults that play that. And over the years, they have voice recordings of all these kids. Why can't they use those voice recordings? Instead of actually putting children in there, they can animate these children and put them in the movies.
But like,
and just add a voice to it that they have recordings of.
That like goes back to what I was saying though, is that like you have all these great cartoons, like back in like the 80s and the 90s, like you have the capability of doing these cartoons, especially now. Like I'm pretty sure it would be easier. I can't say from experience, but I mean, I'm pretty sure like it was harder back then than it would be now. But like, why couldn't you make a show like Rocco's or Chicken and Cow and Chicken, and use those shows to use like your adult themes? Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying like if they want to use adult themes,
Courage actually had a bunch of innuendos.
They did.
I didn't even think about Courage.
But like, if you want to use innuendos, why not use a cartoon show like that? Like we talked about SpongeBob. Like, why not use a show like that? When you're using actual kid actors, why would you want to use an innuendo on them versus a cartoon? If you did it on a cartoon, I'm not that mad.
I feel like it should be against the law.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. It's like if
that to me, that's a grooming tactic.
Yeah, if it's
like you introducing sexual innuendos to children. To me, that is grooming. 100%. That is grooming that child.
If I'm watching a cartoon,
and you did it live.
If I'm watching a cartoon as a kid and I see this, like I'm not gonna think of it. I'm just gonna laugh or whatever.
But as an adult,
I'm gonna laugh at it. Then I'm gonna be like, I didn't catch that. Like that was kind of smart. They slipped it in. But if I'm watching a kid with a show with actual kid actors, then I'm gonna be like, they're a little too young for this. It defeats the purpose. Like it's a whole nother level.
Me and you have talked about getting on that bandwagon with Predator Poachers and Skeeter Jean and I'm curious of how many are in my own area.
Right.
And I want to catch you and put you away.
I've looked it up.
Before we started doing the podcast, we
watched tons of videos on stuff like that, like YouTube videos or whatnot.
Me and you had started doing the podcast. It was me and you pretty much were like, okay, what direction do we want to go? Because we knew we wanted to do videos.
Yeah, too many people said that we're too funny together to not do something.
And it was, right. Well, do we want to catch these assholes doing this?
So I've actually looked up how many pedophiles are in our neighborhood. There's one 4 doors down.
Well, the thing is actually catching them and making them come out and actually try to do something.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to taunt anybody, but I mean, you don't know, like, that's the people that have been caught. I think is what he's getting at. Is like, you don't know how many people haven't been caught.
How many are going to be recaught, too?
I mean, yeah, that too, yeah.
I digress a little bit.
I mean, do something like that, like you have to put your life at risk. I mean, you don't know these people. You don't know if they're carrying a gun. Like, you don't really know that aspect. And then on top of that, you have to have somebody that could play off as a kid or have some type of, voice modulators, something like that.
I mean, we've got the stuff to make it happen.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, there's still a risk at trying to play that game. But I mean, at the same time, if you're putting away people, like, I'd be down for it. But you also got to think of, like, how are you going to do it and avoid situations like that? You don't want to put anybody at risk.
Because you can't entrap them and things of that nature. Like they have to ask the questions.
Yeah.
You can't like lure them into like
They have to lure themselves.
yeah, pretty much.
I mean, look
you have to be pretty vague in what you do.
I mean, look at Drake Bell when he was sitting in the courtroom. He had letters. Not Drake Bell, but the guy that did everything to Drake Bell. He had letters from people, high up, and that they were just saying, "Hey,
the bad part is they were on a false pretense."
Yeah, but I mean, they were
they didn't know like they didn't know the backstory.
But I mean, they were sitting there telling people, "Hey, he wouldn't have did this unless Drake Bell taunted him."
Well, they were pretty much giving him letters of recommendation without hearing like what he was actually being charged with.
Oh, they knew.
There's actually 100% people at the end that.
So you 100 like those people are playing dumb. Like there's a lot of actors that I lost respect for because there are some major actors in that.
I'll say this,
and some of our favorite actors.
I'll say this. I can't confirm this, but my opinion on this would be that someone high up pretty much came to them and was like, "Hey, we need your help. Go vouch for this person." Now they may have known the person.
You know who it was? It was Nickelodeon.
That's what I'm saying. Like they may have the person who
people
wrote
that
the notes.
Didn't comment were Nickelodeon CEOs, board members. The people high up in Nick were unheard from.
And what got me was that Dan Snyder came up and he was saying that how he knew about it before the court case came across. But yet he still wasn't there. Like, if I was in Dan Snyder's place and I wasn't doing anything wrong and I found out about this, bet your ass that I'm going to be in that court case right behind him being like, "I feel bad for you. This is my fault. I'm sorry. I'm going to be behind you. I don't care if I'm the only one. I'm going to be there." But I mean...
Now, that kind of pissed me off too, is Nick paid out Dan's contract. When it came to a fucking boiling head... and it was getting ready to fucking burst, and there's going to be an infection. Let's pay this man $7 million and get him, like, you're done.
Right.
And they put locks on Nick on Sunset, and that's no longer a thing.
Yep.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
But let's close the doors and say, look, damage control.
Right.
We ended this. This is us showing face. This man literally just come out here recently and said, "I'm ready to get back into child TV again and want to take another crack at it." What?
Well, that
is your fucking problem.
That should have never been allowed.
Yeah, I mean, look at the dude.
Guess what? I feel like he's not going to work for Nick.
No.
I don't keep up with Disney. I have no idea what the hell Disney's doing. I don't even keep up with Nick now. I have no idea what's on kids' TV.
We have a certain age as growing up that we would watch all these shows. I mean, I've watched...
And when I say I don't keep up with Disney, because I actually do keep up with Disney because of my 2-year-old.
Yeah, you have a kid. That's
so
common.
He has specific movies and shows that he watches.
Yeah. But I mean, as a kid growing up, though, like you have your age, generation, or I want to say generation, your age gap. That when you hit a certain age, you're going to be like, okay, I can start watching these movies. And you kind of fall off of like kid shows. Now, you might go back to like older shows that you watch, like nostalgia shows. But I mean, like, there's a point to where you just kind of linger off kid shows. I mean, there was for me. But like when I was in my gap, I was watching, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Disney.
Boomerang.
But, yeah, I mean, WB Kids. I mean, but after you grow up at a certain age, you finally go, okay, well, I can watch this movie now. Because I remember being told, like, hey, you can't watch this movie. This is rated R. This is something that you can't watch.
And see, there's specific things that I won't let Remy watch.
Yeah, I mean, you have the right. Yeah.
Even like Cocomelon. Hell no, I ain't gonna let him watch Cocomelon.
That's another thing. You have all these shows that people tell you, hey, don't let your kids watch because they have this in it now.
I mean, at Cocomelon, I've seen kids watch Cocomelon and have the show teaches them how to throw tantrums.
Not only that, like you have shows
And
that
Bluey-
involve too much stuff for kids, like
Yeah.
stuff that they shouldn't be knowing about, but yeah, they're
mean-
throwing it in.
Bluey, he's learned a lot of words watching Bluey. I mean, his first word was mum.
Yeah, I know this for a fact.
Like, not mom, not mommy, not mama. Mum.
Yeah.
M-U-M. Mum.
Yeah.
Like, and
heard
he
it
learned that
millions
from
of times.
Bluey. And now he'll go around going, Bluey, 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 Bluey. Like, he loves Bluey. I'm not going to make him quit watching that, but he is not watching Cocomelon. A friend of mine let her kid watch Cocomelon for about a year, and she was throwing tantrums, and everything else, and I sat down and watched one episode. And it teaches them how to throw tantrums.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful with what you let your kid watch.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's a baby show.
It goes to show you, what these
Like,
people are allowing in television,
It
which
goes,
is what we're talking about.
It goes back to like SpongeBob.
Remy,
Like I'm gonna 100% go back to SpongeBob 100% of the time. It should have went on.
Adult
It should have
Swim.
went on Adult Swim.
Yeah.
And been left there to die.
I mean, me and you have talked about this, like letting Remy and stuff watch like all the Nani shows. Like maybe not all of them, but there were certain shows where like, hey, he needs to get into this because like this show was pretty good.
Rugrats.
Hey Arnold. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of them out there that weren't bad, but I mean,
loves
there's some of
Rugrats.
them. Of course, they had their innuendos as we
Now,
brought up.
I just remembered another one that had a bunch of innuendos. All Real Monsters.
Oh yeah,
Never
that was,
watched that.
I heard, yeah, that was my show.
Powerpuff Girls. I just went and refilled us on ice, and I was thinking Powerpuff Girls.
That was my show.
I didn't really watch too much.
Think
of
about
that.
this.
That was my show.
Think about this. So, Powerpuff Girls, you had the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah, the red guy. Okay.
Ooh.
That was a child molester.
Yeah,
He was weird. Yeah.
And he
He was there to like be inside of their mind and to groom
in their
them.
dreams and
That
I can see that.
that
belittle
was
them.
that was literally a child molester.
Well, great. You just ruined one of my favorite childhood shows. Thank you.
Now, Imaginary Friends. There was a lot of scenes in that too.
Yeah, that one too.
Chalk Zone.
Yeah,
Chalk Zone was my shit.
Chalk Zone had a few inside of it. I'm trying to think of like the ones that for sure didn't. Rugrats for sure didn't. Hey Arnold, I don't think really had any
I
in
didn't
it.
notice any. No.
Cat Dog didn't have any in it.
I love Cat Dog.
There might have been a couple in Cat Dog, maybe.
Yeah, here and there probably. I mean,
Not a whole lot.
yeah, a lot of shows I think had some innuendos.
Scooby Doo. There wasn't sexual innuendos
It was
in it.
perspective, kind of.
There wasn't sexual innuendos inside of it.
Yeah, there
but
was.
Perspective, yeah.
to me, it wasn't sexual. It was.
Well,
Fred
look,
and Daphne.
yeah, look at Daphne. Daphne was more like
okay.
sexualized.
She was
I can
more
kinda-
of like
what-
short dresses and thinking about the way she looked and stuff like that, and her always being with Fred, even in the live action movies.
I mean,
Even stuff like that.
Hold on, Steve. Oh, Steve. Sorry, Steve, to call you out like that. My bad. Decoy. Coco Melon. 173 million subscribers.
No, I'm not one of them.
1.1 thousand videos.
I'm not one of them.
HTF and 173 million toddlers subscribing to this propaganda.
I mean, there are a lot of them out there that are watching this show, and there's a lot of people telling people not to do it.
I won't even get Remy anything with Cocomelon on it.
All right, guys. Just hadn't finished her last mixed drink,
Working on it.
so that we can move to the end.
I mean, unless y'all want to split it with me,
I'll finish it.
go right ahead. But like Cocomelon is one thing that I won't buy him anything with Cocomelon on it. Like I almost picked out for his Easter basket this little thing with Cocomelon, and then I was like, I really don't want to get that for him. You know, I'm not a fan of Cocomelon. And then I saw the thing with Paw Patrol, Paw Patrol. He loves Paw Patrol.
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
I mean, this boy has been watching Paw Patrol since he was like 4 months old.
Yeah.
He is obsessed with animals.
So this is not a shot. Just you've been watching.
She's been here.
You've been
every
on the
podcast.
sidelines.
You've been on the sidelines for a minute.
Every podcast.
This is
Maybe not
to
every.
gather
every
the.
podcast.
But you might have showed up late, I guess.
This is to gather the flavor of the liquor.
Well, if you notice though, like you did get a small pour though.
Yeah.
So you're gonna want it chilled.
Yeah, you let it sit for a minute. For some reason, like I can't explain it. Like I'm not that person to be able to say this is how it works. But when it's over ice, you do taste more flavor. It rounds out the hit or the kick.
And I personally think tequila tastes like burnt cardboard.
Oh, I hate the taste of tequila. I will 100% back
But
that
I
up.
will 100% drink my tequila, my vodka, my gin.
See, I like vodka. I love gin. Gin's good.
I have become that guy. I think I've officially become old. I
do see some gray in here.
I like everything over ice now.
I do like trying stuff that I've had in the past as a mixed drink over ice now because you're like, wow, that's actually good just on its own.
Well, I feel like I have played a factor in the over ice here recently.
I mean, I've had certain places, but I mean, or certain bottles like that. But I mean, you have definitely been the person like, hey, we're doing this over ice, doing this. You know, we do each bottle now over ice, not just because of the podcast, but just because that's how you drink now. But I mean, I was getting to that point though, where it was like some stuff was like, that's not bad over ice. But with you literally did almost every bottle like, hey, we're gonna try this over ice. So I mean, I gotta agree with you on that. But I mean,
and that. I can 100% tell you that when me and you sat down and created Two Drunks in a Bottle, and we created a format.
Yeah.
And we said, well, this is going to be our go-to for everything that we do. No matter what it is, we're doing it this way. It has to meet our criteria.
Yep.
It has to be able to be drank straight.
Yep.
It has to be mixed. And it has to go over ice. Those are your three requirements. We did have one here recently that is an unreleased video at this moment and is going to be redone.
Yeah.
Because we had a pre-gamer.
Shit happens. Fuck it. Shit happens.
That was actually my fault because I forgot to tell her not to pregame.
Which is why we released that statement as far as people or new guests.
Or, you see, we've been inactive for 3 weeks now.
Yeah, and it's not because we've been inactive. It's just there's certain footage we don't want to release.
It looks like we've been inactive.
Which is why I said that.
Which is bad because right now we're releasing videos once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Not always a good fit.
We try to do at least 2 a month. At least 2 a month.
Probably my most favorite one over ice would have been the peanut butter moonshine because it tastes like a Reese's peanut butter cup. That is like one, and that was where the ice became a factor before the podcast. Is me and you were trying different moonshines, and me and you were really big on that. And the way this even was created was we were sitting out by the fire and we were just drinking straight out of the bottle.
Yeah. Like we normally did.
And then it turned into a whole conversation to where, hey, we should do something. We should do something that I had started live streaming, and it was, man, we should do something that that piques our interest and
well, we had been told by other people that y'all are too funny together. You know, like y'all are able to keep going back and forth on each other. Like it's too funny. You know, we went to like say work parties with people that didn't know us. You know, especially not together. You know, because
my work parties,
Yeah.
for instance.
I mean, like when we would go, like people would be like, "Y'all two are funny. Like,
Look,
Hey,
every work party that I've
Decoy,
been to-
why are messages being retracted? Are you retracting messages, or is YouTube moderating my moderator? What the hell's going on with that?
Well, I'm not doing it.
if
Obviously.
it's you, Decoy, appreciate it. But if not,
is YouTube pulling a Facebook right now and they're saying they're fact checking my moderator?
hopefully not. Decoy, you let them know who you are.
Right. But anyway, so like every work event that I've ever had, you've been to.
And you even said, like, because I don't think this has been said yet by you at least, was that when you married him, you pretty much married me because I stayed.
It hasn't been said on. It's been said by you.
Yeah, by me and you probably. But yeah,
It hasn't come out of the
Yes.
horse's mouth.
I do want
Yes.
to say that, just so it adds into her story of why I was there.
Yeah, so when I married you, I knew what I was getting myself into. Like, I knew when I married him, you came with the package.
And this is a quote that you pretty much said on your own. We didn't say this before you, right?
Yes. Whenever he doesn't want to go to something that I have, you're always down for it, especially if I stop and get you beer before.
Yeah.
Beer's
Like-
always involved.
I'm always down to drink.
Always.
Beer's always involved.
Yeah.
But like anytime I have a work event, or he's been to Halloween parties, Christmas parties, everything like that he hasn't been to, he goes. He went to 2 Christmas parties back to back. Actually, every job I've had, every time that there was a Christmas party that I went to, he didn't want to go, and I'd be like, "Hey, Hunter, Bronson doesn't want to go. Do you want to go?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm down." Is there alcohol involved?
Yeah.
Well, of course.
That was about to be my statement, too.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Okay, come on, let's go." And I just pick him up on the way. Like you're my husband, but he's my work husband. And we don't even work together.
I'm just the other guy.
Yeah. Like, there's never really been a third wheel. You kind of always... I mean, I knew what I was getting into.
I mean, we've stated, doing like podcasts, especially the first 2 podcasts, because it was just me and him before we started bringing guests on, is that we talked about how we were pretty much brothers at this point. Like,
Yeah.
We've met each other's families. We've seen just about everybody there was.
You're a better brother than his actual brother.
Yeah, I mean,
I know you a hell of a lot better than I know most 90% of his family.
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're pretty much brothers at this point. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've always done shit together. So, I mean, it was that point.
Like, you've been there for the highs and the lows and the real lows.
Because there has been certain points where I would tell him, like, dude, I don't think I should come over because I think your wife's kind of pissed at me right now.
No,
Like,
you're always welcome.
I would say, like, not just that like, you're pissed at me, but just like, maybe you should go spend some family time, though I'm not over too much.
No,
Like,
you're always welcome. Like, my door is always open to you.
yeah, I mean, I get that.
Like, as long as you and him are on speaking terms, I mean, you clean up after yourself.
We've
You
never
know,
not been on speaking terms.
I know.
no,
But, like-
we've had our moments where we're pretty much like heated, but we get over it.
We never were not on speaking terms.
Yeah, heated.
Yeah.
That's the reason I said heated.
Uh,
Heated, take a break, come back,
but-
we're like, all right,
But I
want a
mean,
beer?
Remy loves you. You're Remy's uncle.
And that's
Yeah.
been since we were
I was back in the school
16
days.
years old.
And
Yeah.
see, and I met you when you were.
You want to have
18.
a have a drink?
Right,
You know.
you're mad?
Mm-hmm.
Let's pull out a bottle, man. Let's talk about it.
like it's always been. Let's talk it out.
Yeah,
Like you've been there since day one. Like me and Bronson started dating when I was 17. I'm 27. I've known you for 10 years. If I'd have thought that you were in the way of any sort, I'd tell you
yeah.
to your face.
We're coming up.
2009, I think, the late 2009. Is that right?
We're coming up on 17 years. It's been a minute, dude.
25? I want to say late 2009. 2009 was definitely 9th grade, but I can't remember if it was later.
We
that
met
year.
in 9th grade.
So 19,
It was still
20,
2009.
22, 23, 24.
We had Miss Gamble together. We had sexual education
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. That's
Uh,
where it started.
Yeah.
together, and we had lunch together. And then you were always the quiet guy in high school.
But Miss, it was, what was her name? Miss Tanner.
Miss Tanner.
Miss Tanner, she brought me out. She pretty much called me on my bullshit. You know, she would look at me and she'd be like, "What's your relation to this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've did this, did that." You know, it would be some shit like that. But I remember when I first met him, it was like in the cafeteria line. I think it was like just because everybody's kind of like grouped together at that point. And he was like, "Hey, I know people. Come sit with us." I'm like, "All right." And I go sit with them, and I'm like, "I know you. I know you.
It was me, Blake, Adam.
Was Adam around
Adam
at that
was
point?
in the same lunch with us.
Okay,
Now I'd been friends with Blake and Adam since
Blake I knew back
school, since middle school.
Blake I knew back in 6th grade.
And me and
Michael,
Blake, because it
6th
was
grade.
me, Blake, Adam. In middle school days, it was me, Blake, Adam, Trevor, and Ashlyn.
Yeah, I met Ashlyn through Trevor. I knew Blake, Michael, and there was another kid.
And then we had
Logan.
Yeah, we had Logan, and then in our lunch we had Black Chris.
Ah, yes, that was my guy.
Like, sorry to put him out like that.
That's how we
he
knew
was
him,
Black
though.
Chris, but that's how.
Well, I'll say this: I didn't know him as Black Chris. That's how he introduced me. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know Chris." Yeah.
So,
like, that was not a racial statement at all. That's everyone called him Black Chris.
We fucked around so much with so many people. Like that was
that was around the same time as everybody hates Chris.
Yeah.
Too.
Y'all got to think like this is back before race was a thing. Like all of us never saw race, and we all would sit at the round table. I'm pretty sure you had it at your school luncheon. You had that round table.
Horn Lake did not have the round tables.
Really?
Believe it or not, Horn Lake did not have those.
Horn Lake High School did have the round table.
Well,
I did not sit at the round table at Horn Lake High
I
School.
personally didn't go to Horn Lake High. I was homeschooled.
You get into South Haven, and you can vouch for this. Like, 9th grade year, I was like at top of the food chain.
Yeah, I mean, you know a lot of people. Yeah.
I knew so many fucking people. It wasn't even funny. Whether it was T-Pat or
who was the little short girl that was in our class?
Becca.
Yeah.
Oh, a little short, skinny thing?
No.
I was about to say that girl that went to Horn Lake.
No.
She was following Bronson around.
He knows who I'm talking about. It was Becca and Savannah because they were best friends.
Savannah was the tall one, yeah.
And I'm going back to drunken stories for a sec. The first time I ever got drunk, and I don't know, you probably have heard this story. The first time, and I wasn't even drunk, but I thought I was drunk.
Oh, that's the worst feeling.
Mountain Dew Whiteout had just come out.
I remember this story.
Yes,
Mountain Dew Whiteout had just come out, and so if you watch American Pie, we have a buddy that's Stifler, and then we can name off of who's who on American Pie.
And throughout all the films, it was the same person.
I can't quote. I'm pretty sure I was the pie guy. I can't 100% remember. But anyways, not to go off the story, we had a buddy that was Stifler.
100%, yeah.
So we're sitting in what they call the Great Hall, and he comes up to me and Savannah, and he says, "Guys, I got a Mountain Dew Whiteout." And me and Savannah are like, "Cool story, bro." Like, whatever. And he's like, "No, I've got Mountain Dew Whiteout."
Or at least you were in that clique, though. He did the same for me, but it was, "You want a swig? Here, just have a swig."
And
he would tell me that.
Drink this.
We're like, "Dude, okay, you got a Mountain Dew Whiteout." He's like, "I got a Smirnoff Ice." And we're like, "Okay." And Savannah's like, give me a swig. And she takes a swig of it, and then she passes it over to me. And then me and her just keep passing it back and forth. And he's like, "So where am I going to go in
right?
Where am I going to go in rotation here?"
It's like, I brought this to y'all. Like,
where am I going to go in rotation here? And me and Savannah drank that entire fucking bottle of Smirnoff Ice in the Great Hall. And he didn't get a single drop of it. We never passed it to him. We both just chug. And he goes, "Are you fucking kidding me? That was supposed to last me all goddamn day." He was like, that was my shit. And you two fucking drank it. And then me and Savannah are going up to each other and we're,
Yep.
can you smell the alcohol? Can you smell the alcohol? And the entire fucking day we're like, we'd meet up and we're like, can you tell if I'm drunk?
Mm-hmm.
Am I drunk? Can you tell if I'm drunk?
I could say I never drank in school, but
Look.
That was my one time.
Mom, sorry if you watch this podcast. Christy, if you watch this podcast, Brittany, you better not snitch me out because I know you watch this podcast. Brittany 100% watches this podcast.
Yeah.
100% watches it religiously.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
She watches it before her husband. That way she's like, okay, he's able to watch this one.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyways, guys, I want to end this in our new format. So, Jess, we have...
Before we do that, I got a question for Owner.
Okay, what do you got?
So going back to...
Have y'all taken a sip?
I haven't taken a sip yet.
I have
I
not
was
taken
waiting
a
to
sip
clean
yet.
glasses.
Try to take a sip real quick. I don't want to interrupt you. I just want to say I just took a sip.
Oh, that's straight water.
It's weird. There's no burn.
It
Maybe for you.
pulled the lime out of the tequila a little bit.
Well,
I guess I get that. Yeah. Definitely, it loses flavor for me. Like it didn't. Normally, it gains flavor. It didn't really gain flavor. It lost flavor.
anyway.
But, yeah.
So going back to, your relationship with Bronson
Yep.
and me coming into the picture.
Yep.
Do you remember how long it took you to say a word to me when we first met?
You want the truth, or you just want me to bullshit a little bit?
No, tell the truth.
Knowing Bronson back in that day, he was around different girls, and me and the rest of our group would normally talk amongst each other and be like, "I don't think this one's gonna last." I'm like, And I don't know. 'Cause I'm not gonna throw him under the bus, but I know I am.
Perfectly can. I mean, it's probably something
But-
I've never heard before.
I'm not gonna do it to him.
Now, he can tell you my standards over the years
Yeah,
continuously graduated.
but I will not say that he
Choice
was.
of words.
I won't say that he was a player or anything like that to where he was just bouncing around different girls. It was more of him just going through different girls. Like he had his moment with her, it didn't work out, so you go to this one.
I spent about a year with somebody.
Yeah,
going
like I
on.
said, you weren't a player. Like you were just going around seeing who you can get to. It was just more of like it just didn't work out. So when you come around, we were like, like I don't know, like we'll
Towards
see.
the end, I did become.
Yeah,
I played it.
you definitely.
Me and Hunter had our Rocky moment, like in the player stage type of deal. I took someone out from underneath him.
His standards definitely went up. I will say that.
I took people out from underneath him. I took one person out from underneath him.
And set me up with someone way down there. I know y'all can't see, and that's a good
But
thing.
I had someone else.
Y'all have heard of
time.
the, hey, I got this girl. She has a friend. Can you help me out? Yeah, it was one of those
You've heard of
situations.
that?
Yeah, and I got fucked on that one.
No, I got fucked on that one.
No, you met this person. We'll talk about it off camera.
Yeah, we'll talk
But
about
yeah,
that one off camera.
this is just between us, not names or anything like that. But I mean, he knows what I'm getting at too. Like he fucked me over,
One time.
Yeah, and
And-
I never trusted him again on that one. That's the reason why it was only one time.
Look, his dad literally wanted us to not be friends at all.
Oh yeah, after that one,
He was like, "You need to kick his ass."
this is going back after he took someone that I actually liked. But I mean,
Well, thing was, she was like, "I don't see Hunter in that way."
she thought I was a lot younger too, which
Well,
I wouldn't.
In
In
my defense, she was like, "I don't see Hunter in that way," and I was like, "Well, he likes you," and she's like, "Well, I mean that's fine, but I don't feel the same." And then she was like, "But you, I do feel that I like you."
as a defense for me, I should have saw it coming. Like knowing what I know now.
And the bad part is he introduced us.
Yeah, knowing what I know now, I should have saw it coming because she wanted your number to know how to get there. And there was 3 of us. It was me, you, and Colby. I should have saw that coming. but I didn't. I wasn't that, used to that whole perspective at the time. Knowing what I know now, like, I was like, yeah, that's fair. Like, I should have saw that one coming.
All's well in love and war.
Like I told you before, we always said it before, fish. Fuck it, shit happens. And that's the same we always
The bad
use.
thing is, we just recently ran into that girl.
Yeah.
Over the last year.
Yeah.
And she has, 5 kids?
Was it 5?
I think she was up to 5.
I got 1.
At least 4.
She looked all right, but I mean, that many
She didn't
kids?
change.
Nah.
She looked exactly like she looked in high school.
Yeah, like, we're not degrading or anything like that, but to me, personally with me, because I'm not going to speak for BB, but like to me, having that
But she
many
didn't
kids,
recognize you. She recognized me before she recognized you, and she was like,
Well, honey, that's because you haven't changed
She was
much over
like-
the years.
she goes, fucking Bronson?
yeah, he's still got the pack.
Like, you can, she worked at a gas station, and she just blurts out, the fuck are you doing?
I remember that.
And me and her, you weren't there.
I remember you telling me about
But
it.
she was like, fucking Bronson? Or what the fuck are you doing? And me and you were like,
Who the hell are you?
no, me and Hunter
We
both
were
just,
checking out. Yeah,
me and
'cause-
Hunter both just, like, I wasn't paying attention to who was at the fucking register.
Right. I mean,
And-
it was early in the morning that day.
It was. We were on the way to the hunting cabin.
Yeah.
And all we hear is, how the fuck are you doing? And me and you look up and
Just,
we're
how
like,
the fuck are you?
me and you,
Something like that, yeah.
Me and you look up and we're like, what? And people were looking at her, and they're like,
Right, like, this a customer? Or like, we know her.
and then we're like, oh, hey, so and so and so. And she's like, well, how have you been? And we get into the whole, I've got 1 kid, and she's like, I've got 5, or however many it was
Yeah.
she said she had.
Because you're like, we're heading to the cabin. Me and Hunter are heading to the cabin. She's like, oh, I remember that. But I mean, it's weird seeing people like that nowadays. It's like, damn, like it's still a small world. Like a lot of people that we've known that are in our group, like they kind of dispersed. But knowing that, you still have some people that are around you, it usually just kind of hits you. It's like, damn, okay, like people are still there.
But anyway, going back on track.
Sorry. What were we talking about?
We got El Polly over here. Can't believe y'all are still going.
I know, Polly. See, I'm up past my bedtime.
We're only an hour and a half in, Polly.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
Fucking Polly.
going back to
Fucking
the
Polly.
original question.
We'll see you in VC here shortly.
How long? Do you remember how long it took you to actually say something to me, to actually talk to me?
So we've had her talk about how long it was going to last. It was to the point where BB finally came up to us, was like, I think she's the one, man. Like, y'all got to hang out with her more. And that's how we noticed, because BB was that person that he never would really come out and be like, hey, you got to hang out with us. Like, we would see it more as, hey, that's your time with your girl. You go do what you got to do, whatever.
Oh no! See, I'm always down to hang with the guys.
But like, seeing it as a guy's perspective, like you're not going to interrupt anything. You don't want to block anything
Yeah.
between, guys amongst themselves.
Yeah,
girls.
that's y'all's time. I'm just kind of there. Just include me and.
But you got to see it from a guy's perspective. Like, I get with a couple saying the girl might be like, hey, it's fine. But a guy, you're not going to.
Yeah,
You're
you're
not
not
gonna
gonna
look at
see
it.
that.
You're just going to be like, hey, he's dealing with his girl. Like, he's going to do what he's going to do. We're going to back off.
Oh no, I'll be
So-
right there getting down and dirty with y'all.
So, like, it got to that point where he was like, hey, y'all got to come over and start hanging out with her. She's got this, she's got that. And it was
That's when I had the rant.
yeah, the ranch with all the horses and stuff. I wasn't big on horses. I'm still not big on horses. I don't
No,
care to
man.
ride them or anything like that.
They're my life.
Now, I do remember me and our other friend, we would finally, come over and stuff like that. And that was when we got to know you.
Y'all
And
got
we
to
saw-
see me in my element.
Yeah, pretty much. And then we saw BB too. We were like, he really likes this girl. And this girl really likes him. Like, it wasn't something shady or anything like that happening. So we're like, it might happen. And then that was around the time that we started talking. I was like, okay, like, maybe this might stick,
4 months.
Was it 4 months?
4 months. It took you to actually say more than 2 sentences to me.
But you got to understand where I was from was like,
no, I completely
Hunter's
understand.
always been
The quiet one.
yeah, because he went through girls, you know, it was like, this one's not going to last. And it finally hit, and we're like, okay, well, she's not bad. She's going to stick. Like, this is perfect for him. And then that's when I got talked to. Now, I wouldn't have been able to tell you what day or anything like that, or how many time between.
See, I'm really good with numbers.
Right?
You don't remember y'all's anniversary?
I don't. I'm bad with it.
Now I'm
You remember ours though, right?
now I'm
2009, about November-ish, something like that.
see I'm really good with numbers.
As long as you remember that date, I'm good.
Like I remember dates.
You want to go out for a nice
times.
dinner this year for our anniversary, or
Hell yeah.
are you paying or am I paying this year?
How about y'all split the bill?
We split it.
You want to split it?
Yeah. Pay for yours, you pay for mine.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Are we getting the same thing?
Depends where we go.
Surf or turf?
No, it don't matter. Matters to happen after we go up there.
See, this is what I got to deal with.
All I know is I still have that same look in my eye.
Oh Lord.
Notice I said eye.
Yeah.
There we go.
I still have that same look in my eye
You
that I
do?
had for you the first time I ever met you.
Yeah.
See, he doesn't say this stuff to me.
I even just got a tear in my eye that I had to
I
wipe
saw.
away.
Y'all almost made me tear up. 'Cause I saw the tear.
Did you almost tear up in both eyes or just
No.
one?
I mean, you can only tear up in just one.
I got a cough. But, you know,
But no, it took a minute. It took a hot minute.
This just goes to show we do support the LGBTQ BLT community.
yeah.
Like we
We got y'all's back.
yeah, we got y'all.
Lord help me.
It's only gay if you make eye contact.
But no, but anyway,
I can't make eye contact, so it's
Getting
never
off the subject of
I was
y'all's
trying to figure out
bromance.
which eye to look at.
Look, y'all can do 2 drunks after dark after we end this podcast.
Have you guys noticed that that we're not sitting on a casting couch anymore?
Oh yeah.
Has that been brought up?
No, it hasn't.
That's why my ass is starting to hurt a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, I put you in a still chair.
Yeah, I noticed, yeah. First hour or so, I was like, I'm good. And now it's like, it started to catch up with me.
Like somehow we still have the same background. Oh,
We got a new table.
we changed tables.
Yeah.
Wait, all 3 of us actually fit comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not
I would
shoulder
say
to
so.
shoulder. We got room.
I mean, we got 3. I mean, we got 3 people here and 2 dogs underneath the table.
Can you,
Shit.
Hunter? Where's the peanut butter?
What the fuck do you need peanut butter for?
She told me to throw it out because it had a hole in it.
Oh my god.
Just checking, making sure there's no peanut butter happening over there.
Nah.
Someone can get these
Throw it
too.
out.
Anyways, gonna end this in the same format, or in the new format that we have just recently released. Yes.
Yes.
This here is our infinity bottle.
Yeah, I bought it.
Pour what you want to pour inside of that infinity bottle.
You sure you want me to pour it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's,
Or guys, pour it. You pick the bottle, you get to pour. Stop whenever you want to stop.
another generous helping.
Good old tequila.
I should just pour the rest of it in there because, you know, I'm not a tequila person.
Neither am I.
And that's a lot of tequila in there. I'm sorry, Hunter. I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
All right,
Sorry,
guys.
not sorry.
Yeah, no.
This is it. We got to end her.
Are y'all not going to ask me about my favorite video game?
Ooh, she got you on that one.
Damn, she did get me.
I told you, I've been here since the beginning.
She's been
I
waiting on
know
this.
how these things work.
I think she was. Hunter, you asked the question this time.
So-
I'm going to change it.
We have all been playing video games all of our life. Now, when I say this, I'll
Not
say me and BB.
Yeah.
So we normally try to integrate it into gaming at the very end. So with our guests, we normally ask the question, what video game was your favorite video game and why? But we don't normally just suggest a new video game that you play because not a lot of people play video games, but some people play video games back in the day. So it could be something old, like classic.
So, I did play a little bit of video games in my younger days.
Okay.
So, and I'm talking like the old style. You plug the 3 little things into the TV,
Yep,
and you have a
remember
little
those.
stick. My all-time favorite that I remember playing as a kid was Pac-Man.
Okay, I can get that one back
With the little controller, with the little joystick that you plugged into the box TV.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my dad would sit there and play for hours.
Those were VCA cables.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever they're called. And then after that, I played a little bit of the very first PlayStation. I played one game. Scooby-Doo.
Video
And I got-
channel audio.
And I got in the damn hole every time, and I couldn't get out, and I had to restart the whole damn game.
Scooby-Doo. I don't think I've ever played the Scooby-Doo video game.
That was the funnest game. I would play it for hours while my sister was at her dad's. And I would go in her room, and I'd plug everything in, and I'd sit there and I'd play it, and then I'd get to the very end, and there was a hole. And there was a certain combination of buttons that you would press to get out of it. Now, at this point, we had no computer.
Yep.
We didn't have cell phones. Nothing like that. So I couldn't Google how to do it. I never learned how to get out of that damn hole.
You might be the first person that actually made me want to play a game that I never played before.
That is the funnest game I think I've ever played.
Because we've talked about emulators
Add
before.
it to the emulator.
Yeah, we've talked about emulators, how we go back and we play nostalgia games.
That is the funnest game.
Normally, what I would tell people would be like, I remember playing this game. I want to go back and play this. I ought to.
Mm-hmm.
Scooby-Doo, I really don't remember playing
My mom
a
got
Scooby-Doo
that.
game.
My mama got that for me, just for me to play.
The only-
Katie would come home.
I really want to play it.
The only cartoon game that I remember actually like cartoon
Ooh, I got mine.
was the Looney Tunes one.
You know what? I'm going to stick with mine as my favorite. Going back, to help out with hers. I got mine in mine. I'm not going to say it just yet, unless you want me to go ahead and start.
Well,
But I do want
you
to.
started, so you'll in. So we're going off format.
So I do want to say that I think it should be something nostalgia, since we're going that route. It's something that we played back in the day that was cartoon related.
So it sucked.
It was
The-
this one.
The
Put a load.
oh, I was like, it's kind of black.
the one that I'm gonna pick.
Yeah, I'm playing that.
That's
So-
the one.
I'm playing that. Just in case y'all didn't hear, I'm playing.
Night of 1,000 Frights.
That is it. That is
Was
the
that
game.
the one with the castle?
Yes, that is the one with the castle.
Did you play it?
I have played that one.
I want.
That was one of
I
my
don't think I've ever played a
favorite.
Scooby Doo game.
That is
That
one of
was
my
the only one I
favorites.
ever played. And shit, dude, that was probably around. I can tell you that was probably around Halloween time. That
Probably.
was Blockbuster days.
2002,
That was Blockbuster days.
and
That's-
it was PlayStation 2.
That was Blockbuster days.
100%,
and,
yeah.
I'm a Halloween buff. So
Mm-hmm.
we would rent, me and mom and my sister would rent every Halloween
Yep.
movie and would watch them.
Yeah.
And it got to a point to where like we couldn't watch them all because you had H2O, Curse of Michael Myers.
Too many.
There were too many. So we would always skip the third one. The third one still skipped. I do not watch Season of the Witch.
I forget which one,
That's
but
the
there's
one about the mask, but it's not about the mask.
Yeah, I remember you went over with like, this is what we watch. This is what's gonna
So
happen.
you only watch the ones that have to do with Michael. Those are the only ones I watch. I can watch those year round.
I mean, we do it now. We start every couple of months. We restart.
Wait, you got to.
No, you've made it to where I can only watch them in October.
Well, yeah, that's because I've been with you 10 years.
Well, you've made it to where I can only watch them in October.
And we start on October 1st.
Anyways,
She's not wrong. Yeah. So going to you.
mine would have to be, and it sucks because we tried to get it on the emulator, and it was the Disney skating.
Oh yeah.
What was? Look up the name.
I think it was Disney skating.
I think it might have been Disney Skate.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And it sucked because you had the Toy Story room, you had Tarzan map, like you had all these different maps, and it was at the same time that like Tony Hawk Pro Skate and all that was out.
Yep. I got it. Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure.
So that was a GameCube exclusive. It only came out on GameCube.
Yep.
And we tried to get it on the emulator, and
No. PlayStation 2, GameCube, Game Boy Advance, and Xbox. Of course, Game Boy Advance is going to be limited down, but
I'm shocked we couldn't get it on the emulator.
it might be revisited.
But we here recently, or within the last year, we tried.
Yeah, we did
and
try.
you couldn't find it.
Yeah.
But that was probably like my most nostalgia game because it was endless fun. Getting to skate, do the tricks, and getting to play as all your favorite Disney characters in our time zone.
Right.
So it was your, Tarzan, Buzz Lightyear, Woody, I'm pretty sure that was like before Wally and stuff. It was literally just your
100%
major
Wally.
90s Disney, 90s, not even early 2000s. It was just 90s
Well,
Disney.
It's like you said, it's like they mixed Tony Hawk with Disney. You had all your other maps. You had all these different
It was
characters
almost
into
like Mario Kart
Yeah,
with Disney characters
and skating. Yeah,
and skating.
100%. Yeah, I agree with that.
So that 100% has to be my nostalgia game.
Okay, I get that. So with Mon, I know all the viewers out there, if you watch any of our other podcasts, I usually bring up Conquer and how like that was my favorite game, which it still is. But I do want to kind of match.
Veer off that.
I do want to match with this. It's the reason why I told him we're gonna match. Hers. My favorite nostalgia game dealing with like a Disney Cartoon Network, something like that. Mine would have to be the Ed, Edd n Eddy game. Do you remember that? That was one of my favorite games.
I never played it until emulator.
Oh man, that was my shit.
And me and you were that game was.
It was clever enough to where you had to think about shit.
You 100% had to think.
Yeah.
It reminded me of playing Rayman.
Okay, yeah.
So I'd give Rayman to put side by side because me and you were PlayStation buffs.
Yeah, big time.
100%. I'm no longer a PlayStation buff. Like I'm not a console buff at all.
If I had to choose a console, I would choose PlayStation or Sony.
But I can't.
PC.
I can't speak on anything. I can't speak on new gen at all.
Like I said, console, I would say PC or Sony. I mean, PlayStation or Sony. Now PC, yeah.
But you get into comparing that to Rayman. Rayman was one of those that like the first few is what it is.
Yeah.
And you just continuously, gradually get harder. And it gets to a point to where like you're having to fucking do math in your head and you're like, okay, can I do this? Can I split myself? Because, Rayman, you could split a certain portion of your body or whatever. And because I know you bought the remastered of Rayman. I never played the remastered Rayman. I only remembered PS1 and PS2 Rayman.
Yep.
I never got to play the remastered. And me and you have always, that just goes to show like how close we are, is we've always shared an account.
Yeah. I mean,
where games were shared.
Yep.
For whoever bought whatever, the other one had the same game.
We would split it, yeah. We split the cost on it.
We either split the call. On PlayStation days, we'd split the call.
Yeah.
Xbox Game Pass is a different monster right now.
Yeah. But we also have it.
But I get you with that, Ed and Eddie.
That was one of my favorite.
You make me want to hook up the fucking Xbox.
Oh, Lord.
See,
here we go.
The thing with Ed, Edd n Eddy, it was like it brought so much of the show back to the game world to where I can play it and actually vision this could be an episode. But at the same time, like you had to think in the minds of Ed, Edd n Eddy, like what would they do? And then when you see, because it was like the scam, because it was always a scam that was in play. You had to create pretty much a scam, like, okay, why would this happen? This has happened. And then once you come up with that scam, you're like, I know what I've got to do. And then when you do it and you see it happen, you're like, this is exactly what they would have done on an episode.
Decoy NDA just told me to check my Discord. Hunter. He may have sent it to you too. We have the Disney Extreme Skate Adventure emulator. Decoy just sent me the link to it.
I haven't got anything from Decoy yet.
I'll send it to you, or we talk about it in BC afterwards.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, Ed, Edd n Eddy was one of those games where they brought the show into a game world.
You know what? Let's open the floor.
Yeah.
Decoy, what is your nostalgic game?
Yeah, you've been here since we started, just about. So might as well answer it.
And even this is something too. So while Decoy's typing his nostalgia game, give us recommendations of bottles.
Yeah, we love to hear bottles.
Like, you don't have to come on the podcast.
No.
Give us a bottle to try.
Yeah.
Tell us what bottle we should try.
Whether it be something that you like or something that you think is going to hit us hard, let us know.
I mean, I'll be happy to try another bottle with y'all.
Hey, you heard it.
If y'all are
She's
willing
down to
have
do
me.
another episode.
Yeah, if y'all are willing to have me.
I can tell you one I'm veering off of.
Tequila?
Malibu.
I can't drink Malibu anymore.
Thank God. Or no, it wasn't Malibu. It was that damn whip vodka.
I thought
Pinnacle. Pinnacle.
I cannot drink Pinnacle vodka, and I cannot.
No, you can drink the Pinnacle. You just can't drink the Malibu.
Oh yeah.
But remember, the Pinnacle. Me and you did not take her seriously with the Pinnacle, and she
It's
was
smooth.
No, it was not fucking smooth. It
love
choked me
Pinnacle
up.
Vodka.
I know the Malibu is more like a coconut base. Like it
Well,
has.
you can get
But
different
the
flavors.
Pinnacle, remember the whip one, or it was the whip chocolate. And I sat there and I took the bottle and because I underestimated it.
Yep.
I sat there and I threw it up.
Because I was taking shots.
I threw it up and I threw it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was sitting there taking shots of it.
Because it went down so fucking rough, and I was not expecting it to go down rough. I was expecting just straight ass sweetness,
It's not sweet.
and it was not fucking sweet.
And see, I can drink that with a straight face.
Disney's coaster. Can you give us a little bit of a description about Disney's coaster? Is that kind of like Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Yeah, I was
where you
getting that,
build
yeah.
like the map? Because I know Decoy is big on City Skylines.
Yeah, big on that one.
He was big. He's big on Roller Coaster Tycoon. He's big about map building. He likes map building.
They had a second one of City Skylines that he was interested in, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he wasn't happy with it.
Oh.
He was absolutely unhappy with the second installment.
I do remember him talking about that was supposed to be coming out. That was the most I've heard about
And
it.
he got it day one.
Yeah,
And
I believe
was pissed off.
Oh.
But no, like, back to the Pinnacle vodka, like, I love Pinnacle vodka.
See, I wouldn't have known it by its name. When he said the chocolate part, I was like, I do remember it now.
I like
It
all
comes in
Pinnacle
that blue looking bottle.
Oh.
I still have it.
I bet you do.
Fuck off.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
100%.
He says that goes down real
Fuck off.
rough, but I take shots of. I used to take shots of that with a straight face.
Okay, for someone that
Okay, hold on.
So from 1993 coaster is a simulator which allows players to build roller coasters. The player can ride pre-made custom coasters and design new coasters from scratch or existing. And then City Skylines 2 sucks. Told you that he was pissed off. Like, he pretty much wanted to throw his Xbox away because of City Skylines 2. He was so mad over the turnout because they built it up and it was like, we're doing this and we're doing this. And if I remember correctly, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, was he had made the comment, he was like, pretty much they took the first one and copied and pasted and tried to just add new features, and the new features failed.
When that should have been a DLC all along. I hate
and
that.
I think that was his exact statement,
Yeah.
was you should have DLC the first one and then fixed your fucking bugs. But instead, you created a game with nothing but bugs.
Yeah, I hate when they do that. They do that all the time. They're like, we should just make a second game instead of just adding DLC to that first game. Like, it makes no sense. It's a money grab. That's all that is.
Thing is like GTA 5. Take that with a grain of salt. But GTA 5 completely has dried the turnip. They sat there for so long. The longest that GTA has ever went without a new installment, and they money grabbed.
Yeah,
they sat there and was like, okay, you know what? We gave you story mode.
Yeah.
It took us 2 years to build online. Online came out. Online was shit from day one.
Yeah,
online still shit.
The desync sucks.
Like it. No, you're getting into 5M.
Oh.
I mean, that alone too. Like, we've had issues where we try to go online, like back into GT Online, not 5M, and we've had desync issues where we couldn't pair up. Like, we would be in a server for 10, 15 minutes, and then it would just crash. Yeah. So I mean, I kind of agree with her on that. Like, it would still be that same error.
I crash at least twice a night on 5M.
And then going on to another Rockstar, going into Red Dead Redemption 2. Story mode, phenomenal.
Same, yeah.
Fucking from beginning to end, the game was amazing. You get me into Red Dead Online? Nope. Fuck off. I cannot stand Red Dead Online. Cannot stand playing it.
No.
I just can't do it. But I also got to that same point with like Call of Duty. I couldn't stand playing Call of like at a certain point. At a certain point, it became to where I don't want to play.
It was like they just changed the map.
We haven't played the finals here recently.
No.
They made the trailer in Unreal. Game is in Unity. So the trailer is in Unreal Engine, and then Unity made the game.
Yep.
And the game should still be in alpha.
Well, we see that all the time. Is like when we see the trailer, like, oh, that's gonna be a badass game. Then when you play it, you're like,
thing is, when you're releasing to consoles and you're releasing to PC at the same exact time, you're not gonna release it. They're not gonna release it in alpha. It's not gonna fucking happen.
No.
They're gonna give you a final product. And they're going to say, here's your final product. We'll do updates. But it's not in alpha. It's not in beta. It's immediately into delta. And you're getting final product.
The only game that I will say that made it out of that hole, because, I mean, pretty much that's the best way to call it, was that they digged themselves to the hole at that point. But, I mean, the Forest. The first Forest, when it come out, it was like shit. Like, the graphics were horrible. But it was doable. Like, you could still play it, but it looked rough. But like years later, like they kept adding to it. Like they made its own little baby.
The one that was the worst was 7 Days to Die.
Oh yeah, that was a bad one too.
And people don't fucking remember it. So like we have a person that we talk to that doesn't know what the fuck I'm talking about whenever I say it. Is that game started out as Minecraft.
Minecraft. Hear it.
It literally looked like Minecraft.
Yeah.
We bought it day one.
Yeah.
And played it. And it was fun.
Yeah. Like we had fun
with Minecraft.
Yeah. Like if that was the way that they would have went with it, we would have been like, hey, this is it. Like this is cool.
And I haven't played it since they updated the graphics and stuff. So like you can watch gameplay and it's complete. They completely changed engines.
The game. They could literally called it Walking Dead, and I would have been like, yeah, that's a whole new game. I wouldn't have ever said, hey, that's 7 Days to Die. Because
and no one believes me until I'm like, I show you pictures, and I'm like...
And they're hard to come by now, too. Like, it's not easy to find those pictures.
Here's 7 Days to Die in Minecraft days, to where you literally were mining the ground and doing things.
Right.
Anyways, we're way over our time. The console is still pushed back and won't be released until quarter of this year, 1 year after release. So he's still talking about
City Skylines.
City Skylines 2. Yep. Anyways, guys, I don't have anything to I don't have anything to drink. Hunter, you got anything to drink?
I'm out of my beer.
We got to clink. I don't even have beer. I'm done.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm out of beer. I'm
Get,
out of everything.
Pass me your glass. I'm gonna make me and you another mixed drink. Why are you pushing your glass to me? That's your glass.
Yeah, you still got some.
Me and Hunter have none.
Unless she wants a little splash of orange in it.
Mm-mm.
But Jess, I think it was nice having you on here. Like finally, you know.
Yeah, been
I
a long time coming.
I figured you would have been at least one of the first girls or women, you know, to be on our podcast. Someone beat you to it apparently, but I mean, hey,
that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean that's perfectly fine with me. I mean, you know, kind of sit back, let y'all have y'all's thing,
yeah.
do y'all's thing.
I mean, you even said it. You've always been on the sidelines with our episodes, right?
Every single episode,
Yep.
I have not missed an episode.
No, you might have
Don't
been.
plan to.
Yeah, you might have been like late coming from somewhere else. Like we just started it and you've been there, but
yeah,
I mean, you've
like coming home
always
from work late or
Yeah,
something like that. But
you were always there.
yeah, always.
Yeah.
I was always there. I've never missed an episode and don't plan to.
Yeah.
Till next time, guys. I'm BB.
I'm Hunter.
And I'm Jess.
We'll catch you on the next episode of Two Drunks in a Bottle. Clink it. Mm.